Starfield is going to be one of the biggest games of 2023 and possibly of all time. Since it has already been delayed a number of times, we have actually gotten a lot of information about the game, from its release date, exploration, character creation, and so much more. And what is up, guys? And from the Den here, and today we'll be going over 15 little bits of information we already know about Starfield. There's a lot out there, so if you're excited, make sure you hit that like button and comment what you are excited to see in Starfield. I'm going to be sticking to the facts in this video, so anything that has been rumored or not from Xbox or Bethesda themselves will not be in this video. But with that being said, we have a lot to go over, so kick back, strap into your seat, and let's blast off into today's video. The first thing we have to talk about is obviously the release date. We got this quite recently alongside some other news and gets me very excited for the future. It is awesome to see that the rumor mill surrounding the release of the game is finally over. It has been a long time coming, but Starfield will finally launch on September 6, 2023. It is amazing to see that we got that release date and put all of the rumors to rest for good. I will say though that this was probably the best course of action that Bethesda and Microsoft could have taken. I know a lot of people will be upset that the game didn't release in that first half window that they promised all the way back to E3 of last year, but to me, if they needed the time to get this right, then they can take the extra 3 months or so. It's good to see that Bethesda is learning from their mistakes and wanting to make it the least buggy it possibly can be. Even though this is technically a delay from when they said it was supposed to release, September is a good time to launch Starfield. This is Microsoft's big game of 2023, and launching it in the summer could hurt the game in the long term, and on top of that could have led to a more buggy and less enjoyable experience. I will say that this is probably the last time it is going to get delayed. I know we've been burned twice already, but Bethesda were not going to give us another release date unless they were 100% sure they could hit that mark. Tying together the whole release date thing, we also learned when we will be seeing the direct for the game. Now, for those who don't know, Microsoft started to do individual showcases of their first-party companies, and the first one we got was all the way back in January. The studios included during the previous one were Arcane with Redfall, Mojang with their new Minecraft game, and a couple of others out there. These developer directs sort of highlight individual aspects of the game and give us extended looks into what we would be seeing. Microsoft is coming back around with a standalone show just for Starfield, so we can get an in-depth look into various mechanics and features we would be seeing. This will take place June 11th of this year, a little under 3 months until Starfield actually launches. To a lot of fans out there, the whole point of the standalone showcase was to give us the release date, but since we already got that, Bethesda can focus more on showing us the game itself. This gets me really excited because even though we will have to wait a little longer to get the game in our hands, there is a lot more they can show off. Next up, let's get into the story for Starfield. We don't know much about the story, but there are a couple of tidbits we can pull together to create a good idea of it. About 50 light years away from our solar system is the Settled Systems, which houses the main quest for the game. There are a lot more planets and systems out there, but we will get into that a little later on. So Starfield takes place in 2330, and there is one big event that is basically everything we know about the story as of right now. 20 years before the start of the game, there was a colony war between the two biggest factions of the Settled Systems, with the Freestar Collective and United Colonies. What you need to know is that it ended with an uneasy peace that is still kept up to this day. Diving a little deeper, a good chunk of this main questline looks to be centered around these disc-looking objects, but we don't know their purpose just yet, so we'll leave it at that. Following the main story, we have a number of factions we will be following in-game, including the main ones of Constellation and the United Colonies. The goal for Constellation is to discover the mysteries of space and will tether the game to its sci-fi roots really well. The United Colonies, on the other hand, are a massive militaristic empire in the Settled Systems. The capital city is New Atlantis, which has been shown off during the E3 showcase of last year and is described as a melting pot of all people. On the flip side of the United Colonies, we have the Freestar Collective, a loose federation between 3 star systems. The Freestar Collective believe that people should have their own freedom and be allowed to live as individuals. There is sort of a sub-faction within the organization as well, with the Freestar Rangers set on Aquila City. We don't exactly know what they will be like, but I imagine this is how we'll be able to interact with the Freestar Collective. Going a little deeper into the sci-fi trope just a little more is the space pirate faction known as the Crimson Fleet. Instead of having them as just another faction to fight, Bethesda has already confirmed that you'll be able to join them or turn them into the authorities. This leads into some very unique storylines that we could go on, and I am excited to see where they take us. The last major faction of Starfield is Ryujin Industries. What makes them so unique is you'll be able to join them by being hired. I'd be interested to see how far Bethesda will take them, with us possibly being able to rise up the ranks and become the CEO. A way to see the everyday life of Starfield will make for an interesting storyline, and I can't wait to see what Ryujin Industries will become. Moving on past the story though, we have to talk about the different gameplay features we will be seeing in Starfield. There are a lot of different features that make up the world of Starfield, but one that I am very excited to actually play around with is its exploration. Exploration is a big allure for a lot of the game, and for Starfield to have over 1,000 planets makes this even larger than anyone could have possibly imagined. Yes, a lot of those worlds will be procedurally generated, but they will all be fully explorable from edge to edge. That means every single planet that we are getting will be traversed around the whole world. From those that are procedurally generated to the number of ones that will be handcrafted, we will be seeing a lot of different mysteries, secrets, and Easter eggs to uncover through all of them. Take Mars for instance, which will be playable in Starfield, and we can see it in a big way with its own major colony of Sidonia. There will be a number of these focused on the idea of space Easter eggs, and I imagine some will be bigger than others. Alongside the planets though, we will also be getting a number of large cities as well, like the capital of the United Colonies with New Atlantis. We have also gotten confirmation of at least 3 others, with Aquila City, the water spaceport of Neon, and of course, Sidonia. Places like these will flesh out the worlds even more, and will make for a lot of interesting interactions and environments. Just imagine all the different creatures, characters, and biomes that will be explorable not just on the planets, but also in its cities. To follow up with the idea of exploration comes a widely overlooked feature with Outpost Building. This is something that looks to be really fleshed out and adding on to what we got in Fallout 4 and 76. Now at face value, this might seem like not as good of a feature, but when you take a look at all of the little things you'll be able to do in Outpost Building, then it appears to be something that will blend really well with the theme of Starfield. As said earlier, Outpost Building is working off the design of Fallout 4 and 76 and making it even better. How, you ask? Well, for starters, they are making it so that the outpost will be able to function on its own without the player having to do everything by themselves. This is similar to something like the Sim Settlements mod from Fallout 4, and I'm excited to see how far they take this in design. With that, you will be able to hire a crew to work the outpost and effectively manage it for you. You will also be able to take a bird's eye view of the surrounding area, a step up from the settlement system in Fallout 4. The main reason for the outpost is extracting resources from the world you're on and using it as a home away from home. Something that is getting a lot of people excited for Starfield is the idea of how space travel is going to work. During the Xbox showcase, we got a good look at how spaceships were going to work in-game, and as of right now, it is looking to be highly designed. From spaceships to its customization, there are a lot of different ways that these ships will improve upon and diversify the gaming experience. Spaceflight is something that not a lot of games have done well, but in Starfield it looks to be very fluid and actually really good. Not only will you be able to fly and fight with your spaceship, but also be able to customize it in ways that will affect how it performs in-game. All of these different features make into one great feature that has a lot of potential for some really good moments in Starfield. Crafting will align with both of the features of Outpost Building and Spaceship Travel. I imagine that these two areas will work in tandem with each other to make crafting the best it can be. Think of it like this: you collect the resources you will use to build up more of your spaceship through the Outpost system, and you can use that spaceship to fly to further galaxies and collect even more resources. Through these resources though, you'll be able to craft different ship parts, new weapons, and even mod your weapon. Crafting looks to be a step up from what we saw in Fallout 4, but until we get our hands on it, we can't know for sure. Random encounters and raiding quests are also getting a revamp in Starfield and look to be something very fleshed out. The example that was given to us about the upgrade goes as follows: if you were to return to a certain area on a planet, there might be an entire outpost, as before there was only just one person to talk to. This changes things up a lot because in previous games you would potentially talk to one person and they would send you off on a quest to, let's say, find a piece of equipment, but they would be sending you to locations on the map that we've seen or are not procedurally generated to the extent that we will see. In Starfield, it works a little differently as these locations will be entirely different, not just the quests themselves. Think of it like this: you will find an outpost somewhere on a planet and they will ask for you to go find someone on a different part of that planet. An entirely dynamic dungeon will then appear to you on a map marker and you will have to go there to complete your quest. This changes things up a lot and I can't wait to see what it looks like in game. Starfield looks to be taking what past Bethesda games have done and making certain features even better. On the top of that list comes the new backgrounds and trait systems. This isn't so much new, but instead a new iteration of a system we saw in past games like Oblivion. With these backgrounds and traits, you'll be able to design the way that you want to play. If you want to play as a combat medic, you will get perks designed to fit that role. Same goes for all the other ones as well. These backgrounds will influence the way that characters in Starfield will see you and respond in different ways to it. There are also traits available to the player that take it even further. These traits are equipped with unique advantages like starting off with a player home or having higher health in certain areas of the game like space. This is a great addition to Starfield and will help define your player to make it your own. There are also different dialogue options with a persuasion minigame of some sorts. Similar to how it was in Oblivion, but more involved because you have to think about the risks that will accompany your decision. Taking Starfield deeper into the RPG side of Bethesda games is amazing to see, and I hope we get to see more of what to expect there. We've already seen a returning feature in Starfield with the lockpicking system. This time around it will be called Digipicks, but works in the exact same way, so there isn't really much to say about it. Something we know will be returning for Starfield is the companion system. We already know of one with the Constellation robot Vasco, but we have seen another one in the latest trailer for the game. There isn't really much we know about followers just yet, but I'm sure it will be similar to what we got in Fallout 4 and working off of that system. What gets me very excited for Starfield though is the latest addition to the Creation Engine with the Creation Engine 2. For those who don't know, Bethesda has been running with the same engine for the past 25 years or so, upgrading it every so often, but this time we are getting the biggest revamp with the second addition to it. That means graphics will work a lot better, the system should run a lot smoother, and overall a better game experience. Starfield has been above and beyond one of, if not the game I'm most excited for. There are a lot of different features for the game that are unique and fleshed out and looks to be something that I can sink countless hours into. Even though we still have a little ways to go until we can play it for ourselves, it is good to finally get some confirmation on when it will actually be released. These are just a few details we know of as of right now, and I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot more in Starfield during the Direct and leading up to its eventual launch. But that is all for me now though guys. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Comment any videos you want to see in the future and I'll see you all next time.